Morning, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the 2021 Annual Stockholders Meeting of Monde Nissin Corporation. I'm Mike Pasca, Head of Investor Relations at Monde Nissin. As a consequence of the prevailing quarantine and social gathering restrictions in the country and the utmost importance placed by Monde Nissin on the health and well-being of its employees, stockholders, and partners, today's annual stockholders meeting is being conducted virtually through the AGM at Convene online platform. Joining us in this meeting are Chairman Emeritus, Mr. Hartono Quefanos, Chairman of the Board and ExCom member, Ms. Cataline Darmono, Vice Chairman of the Board, Mr. Judiono Quefanos, Director, President, and ExCom member, Ms. Betty Ong, Director, CEO, and ExCom Chairman, Mr. Henry Susanto, Director, ExCom member, and Treasurer, Ms. Monica Darmono, Lead Independent Director, Chairman of the Risk and Related Party Transactions Committee, and ExCom member, Mr. Delphin Lazaro, Independent Director and Chairman of the Audit Committee, Ms. Nina Perpetua Aguas, and Independent Director and Chairman of the Corporate Governance, Nomination, and Remuneration Committee, Ms. Marie Elaine Tail. Also joining us are Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Jesse Tail, Corporate Secretary and Chief Legal Counsel, Attorney Helen Tew, Chief Commercial Officer, Mr. Sammy C., Chief Sustainability Officer, Ms. Riza Kahukam Oy, Chief Marketing Officer, Ms. Melissa Pabustan, and Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Michael Tan. Finally, we also have with us representatives from our external auditor, SGB & Company, Managing Partner, Mr. Wilson Tan, and our audit partner, Ms. Edith Estacio. Please note that this virtual meeting is being recorded. And now I'd like to turn this meeting over to the CEO and ExCom Chairman, Mr. Henry Susanto, who will be the presiding officer and acting chairman for the stockholders meeting.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank our valued shareholders for participating in this first annual shareholders meeting of Monde Nissin this 2021 as a public company via live streaming. In particular, shareholders who are present in this absentia and who will be voting through AGM at Convene online voting portal, as well as the shareholders who have submitted their proxies to the Chief Executive Officer. The meeting is now called to order. Ms. Corporate Secretary, can I know that if we have complied with the notice requirement for the shareholders meeting?
Mr. Chairman, we have complied with the notice requirement. I hereby certify that in accordance with the company's bylaws, SEC Memorandum Circular Number 6 Series of 2020 on meetings conducted via remote communication and SEC notice dated March 16, 2021 on alternative modes for distributing the notice of meeting, information statement, and other documents in connection with the holding of annual stockholders meetings in 2021, I have caused notice of this stockholders meeting, the information statement, and materials related to this ASM to be distributed to stockholders of record as of record date, October 26, 2021, through the following methods. 1, by publication in both online and print formats on the Philippine Star and the Manila Bulletin on November 1 and 2, 2021, the last publication being made 21 days prior to this meeting, by posting on the website of Monde Nissin, and 3, by disclosure through the PSE's EDGE system. Further, the electronic copies of our definitive information statement, the audited financial statements, the minutes of the previous stockholders meeting, and other ASM materials are available on our website, on the AGM@Convene online platform, and on the PSE's EDGE system.
The shareholders of record, having been duly notified of this meeting, may I know from the corporate secretary whether we have a quorum?
Mr. Chairman, based on the record of attendance at today's meeting, there are present at this meeting by proxy, by voting in absentia through the Azius online voting platform, and by participation through remote communication, stockholders owning or representing 15,987,592,659 common shares out of Monde Nissin's 17,968,611,496 total outstanding shares. As such, stockholders entitled to vote representing at least 88.98% of the outstanding capital stock is present at this meeting, with a final count to be reflected in our minutes. I therefore certify that there is a quorum for this meeting in accordance with Monde Nissin's bylaws and the revised corporation code.
There being a quorum, may I request now the corporate secretary to share the rules of conduct and voting procedures for this meeting, including the measures adopted by the company to provide the shareholders the opportunity to participate in the meeting to the same extent possible as in-person meeting.
Mr. Chairman, the rules of conduct and voting procedures were set forth in the definitive information statement and the explanation of agenda items, which form part of the notice of annual stockholders meeting. I would just like to highlight to our stockholders the following. 1, the agenda for this meeting covers a range of matters requiring stockholders' votes, which was included in the notice sent to stockholders for this meeting. Stockholders were also given the opportunity to propose matters for inclusion in the agenda, pursuant to applicable rules and regulations of the SEC and the company's internal guidelines. 2, stockholders have been notified that questions received through the AGM@Convene portal or through email to investor.relations@mondenissin.com or corporate.secretary@mondenissin.com by 5 p.m. of November 12, 2021 will be given priority. Questions received from stockholders by November 12 have been collated and will be answered during the Q&A portion, which will be taken up under other business. For questions and comments which are not responded to during the Q&A, we will answer them by email. 3, there are 8 agenda items to be voted on or acted upon by the stockholders, each of which will be shown on the screen as the same is being taken up. 4, through the AGM@Convene online portal, stockholders should have been able to cast their votes on these agenda items since November 2, 2021. Stockholders participating through the AGM@Convene online portal may cast their votes in real time using the portal. The polls will remain open until the end of this meeting for stockholders who have successfully registered on the portal. 5, alternatively, stockholders were also provided with the option of appointing the CEO as their proxy. 6, a preliminary tabulation was made of votes cast as of close of business on November 22, 2021. I will be referring to this preliminary tabulation when reporting the voting results for each agenda item during the meeting. However, the results of the final tabulation of votes with full details of the affirmative, negative, or abstention votes will be validated by SGV and reflected in the minutes of this meeting. We thank you, stockholders who have voted through the AGM at Convene online portal or by proxy. We encourage all stockholders attending via live feed today to vote using the AGM at Convene online portal, which will remain open until the end of this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. Let us now proceed to the first item on the agenda, the approval of the minutes of the special shareholders meeting held on May 28, 2021, an electronic copy of which is available on the website of the company and was part of this definitive information statement. Ms. Corporate Secretary, please present the proposed resolutions and the voting results on this item.
Mr. Chairman, management is proposing the adoption of resolution number S-13-2021 for the approval of the minutes of the special stockholders meeting held on May 28, 2021, which was the last special stockholders meeting. The resolution is shown on the screen. Regarding the voting results on this item, stockholders owning 15,978,641,959 common shares representing 88.93% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-13-2021. Accordingly, resolution number S-13-2021 has been approved.
Thank you. The minutes are hereby approved as presented. Let us now proceed to the next item on the agenda, the presentation of the management reports, which consists of A, the message of the chairman, B, the report of the CEO, and the report of the Chief Financial Officer. I now turn you over to our chairperson of the board, Ms. Catalin Darmono, for her message.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning and greetings to the distinguished members of the Monde Nissin Board of Directors and colleagues and to our shareholders. It is a pleasure to welcome you to our first annual shareholders meeting as a public company. Our company began as a humble startup biscuit manufacturer over 40 years ago. Since that time, we have grown into a global food company with several iconic leading brands. This year, we started a new chapter as we listed on the main board of the Philippine Stock Exchange last June 1st. Monde's IPO was the largest ever on the Philippine Stock Exchange, and the capital we raised from the IPO will provide the resources for long-term growth as we build and scale our business to expand our operations globally and achieve our aspiration around health, sustainability, and food security. The extraordinary level of commitment that we receive from a broad range of international and domestic investors is a testament both to the Philippine economy and to the world-class company that we have built and the significant growth opportunities ahead of us. We thank you for your support and look forward to having you with us on our journey.
Thank you, Chairperson Catalin. CFO JC Teo and I will now present the management reports on the first half of 2021 of Monde Nissin Corporation, along with the highlights of the key strategic initiatives over the past year. Greetings to our board of directors, colleagues, and our shareholders. Our mission has evolved through the years, And as a food company, we realize that the product we produce and our consumer consume have impacts not only on our health, but also on the health of the planet. We understand we will not be able to feed the growing population if we do not change the way we produce and consume food. Monde Nissin aspires to improve the well-being of people and the planet and create sustainable solutions for food security. We take this commitment very seriously, and we have ambitious plans on what we can do in line with our aspirations. We believe that we can help address challenges in food security by continuing to innovate as we have been doing for decades. We have been executing ahead of our time, and this is what sets us apart. This aspiration is more relevant now than ever, with health as one of the foremost concerns of our consumers. COVID has been around for more than a year now. While cases around the world has been softening, thanks to the increase in vaccination rates, but the pandemic is still continue to persist. We have felt impact of the economy and social effects since 2020. There are recent signs of slow recovery in terms of GDP and other economic metrics, but there remains to be various economic challenges like the inflation that we are continually to face. These macro challenges have not challenged our focus on executing our long-term growth plans. Rather, these challenges have sharpened our resolve by applying our technology and our culture of innovation to create a future of food where taste, health, and the planet are all satisfied. And with that, let me now turn you over to our CFO, JC, to provide more details for our H1 2021 financial and recent developments. JC, please.
Thank you, Henry, and good day to everyone. Consolidated revenue for the first half of 2021 grew by 1.2% to 33.8 billion pesos, thanks to a balanced portfolio which helped sustain the challenging first half of 2020 sales level. Revenue from the Asia Pacific branded food and beverage, or in short, APAC BFB business, grew by 1.7% to 26.2 billion, which was primarily driven by strong growth in the international business. Meanwhile, revenues from the meat alternative business declined by 0.6% to 7.5 billion, reflecting softness across the UK and US retail market. First, diving into our APAC BFB business, which makes up 78% of total sales in the first half of 2021. The domestic business, which accounted for 93% of the APAC BFB revenues, declined by 1.3% to 24.4 billion due to 2020's high base, reflecting the surge in relief orders from the Taal volcano eruption in January and February, as well as the pantry stocking at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. Meanwhile, the international business, which accounted for 7% of the APAC BFB revenues, grew 68.1% to 1.9 billion pesos compared to the same period a year ago. This is due to the different environment in the categories and the markets we play in. For noodles, the category experienced a surge in demand given its nature as a staple product and as consumers prioritize essentials during the country's lockdown. We were able to grow with the category through our flagship Lucky Me brand and sustain our performance, gaining market share and solidifying our market-leading positions in the overall noodle space. Our new product launches and relaunches were keys in driving our performance in this category. We also launched communication efforts to promote consumption occasions and different ways to consume noodles. Our collaboration with local social media influencer for the relaunch of our thinner noodles gained us the YouTube Works Award for Best Collaboration last July. The award is in partnership with Kantar, a reputable global market measurements company, and recognizes innovation and effective campaigns on the online platform. Efforts such as these are why our flagship noodle brand, Lucky Me, remains one of the most chosen consumer brands in the country, earning this title for the 6th consecutive year from Kantar. Next, the biscuit category saw a decline due to a reduction in usage occasion, given it is typically consumed out of home. Our company was able to perform better than the category and as such, gain market share and maintain our market leadership in this challenging space. We launched a nostalgic campaign to revive excitement for Fita, one of our most important biscuit brands, as well as a campaign to further build usage occasions, such as eating our flagship Skyfix biscuit at home with comfort foods like noodles. Now others, which consists of strategic partnership with strong brands, can be broken down into subsegments that we are in. First, culinary experienced a surge in demand as consumers prioritize in-home cooking during the country's lockdown. Similarly, similar to biscuits, the beverage category saw a decline due to reduction in usage occasion, given its out-of-home consumption nature. Despite this, we were able to gain market share in yogurt drinks as we introduced Dutch Mill Proyo, a probiotic yogurt drink aimed at health. For cultural milk, we were able to maintain our #2 challenger position. Jumping to our international business, as mentioned, we grew a strong 68.1% thanks to market share gains and successful new product launches in our Thai business and mainstream push in our key export markets. We are also glad to share that we have begun exporting to Vietnam last August. While we have exciting plans to increase our international markets, we'll continue to focus on driving mainstream expansion in our existing markets in the near term, as logistical challenges persist. Overall, while the categories and markets we play in resulted in mixed performance, we believe our balanced portfolio put us in a net beneficial position. We believe our strong brands will be able to cater to our consumer needs as they continue to prioritize essentials, in-home cooking, health, and wellness, and as we build usage occasions for the key products in our portfolio. Moving on to our meat alternative business, which comprised 22% of our total sales in the first half of 2021 with our corn and cauldron brands. The UK, which accounted for 78% of the meat alternative sales, declined by 0.4% to 5.9 billion pesos, primarily due to a challenging base in the second quarter of 2020, as it included the effects of panic buying and inventory replenishment. The US, which makes up 8% of the meat alternative sales, declined by 3.7% to 683 million, reflecting consumer shift to out-of-home eating as food service and QSR channels reopen and as distributors destock. The remaining 13%, consisting of the rest of the world, was up by 0.1% to 968 million. Before we get into our focus area, recall that we produced a unique microorganism-based protein called mycoprotein using our proprietary airlift fermenter technology. Through decades of research and production know-how, we have a product that A, delivers superior nutrition with increasing scientific research on its health benefits. B, is better for the planet, using less carbon, water, and land in our value chain. And C, mimics meat in terms of texture and is versatile, allowing us to come up with alternative and meat products across all meat types. This can be seen as we continue to develop and launch new products. The versatility of microprotein allows us to come up with a wide range of SKUs for all meat types, for various meal occasions and recipes. Our recent product launches have been received amazingly well by the consumers, with corn branded products bagging up top spots in the UK's new product listing in 2021, according to IRI. We continue to invest in this area as innovation and new product development are both important factors to leverage growth opportunities. Turning to our focus area, in the UK, we were able to maintain our #1 position despite some reduction in market share and ongoing macroeconomic challenges. The business was still in recovery phase during the first half, following previous supply constraints in 2019 and 2020, which resulted in the delisting of some of our SKUs. We continue to work on rebuilding our relationships with retailers to increase our distribution points and have made good progress strengthening our customer relationships. We are particularly pleased with the strengthening relationship with Tesco, the UK's largest retailer and our biggest customer, where we increased distribution by 34%. We take pride that they have also asked Corn Foods to be the category captain to help them achieve their stated ambition of tripling the meat alternative sales over the next 5 years. To support our product development and increase distribution, our 4th fermenter in the UK was commissioned on time in July 2021. And our 4th harvester, the complementary infrastructure, is scheduled for completion in early 2022. In the US, trading was softer than expected, and this has resulted in a share decline, but we are on track with building capability to deliver our strategy midterm. We have made several key changes. First, we appointed a new president for the US, Judd Suzel, in February 2021. Judd brings with him over 25 years of brand building experience. Second, we have a new VP for food service, Kevin Aiden, who joined us in October and will lead the sales efforts and long-term strategies for our food service segment. Kevin brings with him a proven track record in creating team structure, an innovative pipeline, and new ways to market. Third, we have a new executive chef who will lead our innovation center located in Dallas, Texas, which opened in July. Lastly, we are proud to announce that we have onboarded a celebrity endorser, Drew Barrymore, as our Chief Mom Officer. With her 14.5 million Instagram followers, we believe we will be able to attract our target market, fearless, foodie, female flexitarians, which are moms who are conscious and care for what their children consume at home. For food service and QSR, we continue to work on further penetration with existing partners and expansion through discussions with global and regional players across geographies. We collaborate with QSRs in creating new products, especially for their brands. We are honored and proud when KFC UK recognized corn as their NPD Supplier of the Year for the work we did in developing the corn filet, vegan filet burger, a truly amazing product. We are at various stages of developing across a number of customers with massive global reach and have worked at speed to develop products for each of the market. We are optimistic that this will support our long-term strategies in the QSR space. All in all, there's a lot to do, but we are making progress despite the external market headwinds, and we remain optimistic for the category as well as our leading brands in the long term. On profitability, our unaudited core net income attributable to shareholders, which is defined as operating profit after tax less non-controlling interest, declined by 12.9% to 4.3 billion. Despite the decline, we are happy to report that margins for the first half of 2021 remained resilient, notwithstanding inflated commodity costs, continued investment in new product development, and increased A&P spending for brand building. Our resulting reported net income declined to 204 million, as it included one-off items, mainly due to the Iran convertible note and IPO-related expenses and the deferred tax liability in the meat alternative business. Despite the short-term headwinds, our ratios continue to be healthy, allowing us to pursue innovation in new products and processes and invest in our brands. Now, I would like to turn you back over to Henry to speak on our full year 2021 guidance and our long-term strategies.
Thank you, JC. So in terms of outlook for the full year 2021, we are providing top-line guidance of low to mid single-digit growth. We expect positive year-on-year growth in Q4 due to seasonality and thanks to the balanced business portfolio. We will continue our efforts to maintain higher demand for noodles and culinary and build consumption occasions for biscuit and beverages. We will also continue our recovery efforts for our meat alternative business. We also expect margin dilution year-on-year, given cost headwinds and continued SG&A investments and risk mitigations. This will be particularly offset by recent pricing and cost containment initiative. Longer term, we see a long runway for each of our businesses. For noodles, the per capita consumption in the Philippines still has room to grow compared to other Asian countries. We aim to capture growth through our strong brand equity and innovations. We believe that there is a healthier segment to be built, which would increase the consumption moments in the Philippines and open opportunity for launching in other markets. We are installing 2 additional high-speed airflow lines in the Philippines by 2022 to produce healthier noodles with significantly reduced oil content. So our plan to set up a healthy noodles line in Thailand by early 2022 are also on track. We believe bringing this technology to other international markets will provide us with first-to-market advantage in this category. For biscuits, this is a challenge category during the pandemic. We are glad to see the end of the downtrend and start of long-term growth. For culinary, we will continue to work with our business partners to address consumer needs for in-home cooking. For others like beverages, we are still maintaining our leadership position in line with our consumers' preference for healthier products. Lastly, for international, we will continue our business improvements in Thailand while looking into a number of new international markets. For meat alternative, we will continue with 3 areas of focus. In the UK, we will stay on course with our many new product developments. We believe that while there are short-term microeconomic headwinds, the long-term consumer awareness on health and sustainability will sustain. We will also ensure the market leadership and that our products continue to be accessible and that our capacity remains sufficient to accommodate long-term growth. In the US, we will continue our efforts to increase corn brand awareness. We believe our local team, along with our new brand ambassador, will be able to meaningfully bring up the brand awareness and relevance as we connect with our target market and develop new products for them. Lastly, our food service and QSR, we will continue to deepen our relationship with restaurant partners in developing our products, cater to their needs, and expand our connection around the world. Now, ESG, we will do all this while we continue to be guided by our aspiration. Our group has been built through continuous innovation and investment ahead of changing consumer tastes. Over time, our sustainability principles have guided us to prioritize 6 strategic areas, pivoting to a healthier and better portfolio, moving towards a resource efficient and zero waste value chain, scaling up inclusive distribution, fostering an inclusive environment through better workplace practices, and enabling employees to put sustainability aspiration into actions. While we still have a long way to go in terms of sustainability and goals, the pandemic has allowed us to take a closer look that we need at the needs of our stakeholders, which enabled us to ensure the immediate term sustainability and business continuity of our company. For the past 18 months, the company has put efforts in various programs that would assist stakeholders during the pandemic. The health and safety of our employees remain our top priority. We continue to implement various health and safety protocols across our manufacturing facilities and offices, such as non-contact thermal scanners and disinfection chambers in all plant entrances, availability of disinfectants and masks, sanitation, and a social distancing signage and markers, and free shuttle service, healthy meals, and vitamins. We also enhance our healthcare benefit, providing medical coverage and free COVID-19 and anti-flu vaccination to all our employees. All medical expenses related to the testing and treatment of the COVID-19 are covered by the company. Meanwhile, employees who can accomplish their work outside of the office or plants are encouraged to work from home. As of the first half of November, over 75% of our employees are fully vaccinated, in addition to over 10% partially vaccinated. This is on track to our target of having at least 80% of our employees fully vaccinated by the end of the month. Our vaccination program is also available to our employees' family members and even our third-party logistic and distributors employee. By taking care of our employees, we are able to continue and even expand our operations and ensure that our products are available in the supermarket, sari-sari stores, and other points of sales. High and reliable service levels in the communities are critical during the pandemic, due to the significant portion of our product portfolio are considered essential. We have recently partnered with Small Business Corp to provide loans to sari-sari stores. This is the latest in our efforts to address the issues of limited cash budget of our sari-sari stores. This is in line with our ESG strategy to scale up inclusive distribution, as SB Corp's goals are aligned to our plans for inclusive growth. And we believe we can build a better relationship with partner stores through this assistance. We have donated about 100 million worth of products as part of our Bayanihan Para sa Bayan donation drive. We increased our operating hours from 6 days a week to 7 days a week in order to manufacture additional products for donation. This provided assistance to over 100 beneficiaries, which includes hospital, local government units, and other organizations, enabled them to offer further relief to our hardest hit countrymen. We also partnered with Temasek Foundation to donate a total of 40,000 Singapore-made test kits to help in the fight of COVID-19, some of which were given to Philippine General Hospital and National Institute of Health. All this is possible with the collaboration and care of our people, those working on the ground in our facilities and on the field, as well as those from the offices. We are most grateful and highly appreciate the efforts they have made in the past 18 months. They are our frontliners. They enable Monde Nissin to continuously do community services amidst the pandemic. As stewards of our stakeholders' trust, the entire Monde Nissin team will continue to work hard and exemplify excellence as we pursue our aspirations. Thank you. So may I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolution regarding the management report and voting results?
Mr. Chairman, management is proposing the adoption of resolution number S-14-2021 for the noting of the management report, which consists of the message of the chairman, the report of the chief executive officer, and the report of the CFO. The resolution is shown on the screen. Regarding the voting results of this resolution, stockholders owning 15,978,641,959 common shares, representing 88.93% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-14-2021. Therefore, resolution number S-14-2021 has been approved.
The management report is hereby noted. Let us now proceed to the next item on the agenda, which is the ratification of the 2020 audited financial statements. May I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolution regarding the ratification of the 2020 audited financial statement of Monde Nissin and its subsidiaries and the voting results.
Mr. Chairman, an electronic copy of the company's 2020 audited financial statements was attached to the definitive information statement as Annex D, which was made available on the company's website, the PSE Edge system, and the AGM at Convene online portal. Management is proposing the approval of resolution number S-15-2021 for the ratification of the 2020 annual audited consolidated financial statements of Monde Nissin and its subsidiaries. The resolution is shown on the screen. As to the voting results on this item, stockholders owning 15,978,641,959 common shares, representing 88.93% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-15-2021. Therefore, resolution number S-15-2021 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The consolidated financial statements of Monde Nissin and its subsidiaries for the year ended December 31st, 2020, as audited by its external auditors, SGB & Co., are hereby ratified. The next order of business is the amendment of the corporation's bylaw to change the date of annual meeting from the fourth Tuesday of November to last Friday of June of each year. May I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolution regarding these amendments to the company's bylaw and voting results?
Management is proposing the approval of resolution number S-16-2021 to change the date of the annual regular meeting from the fourth Tuesday of November to the last Friday of June. The resolutions are shown on the screen. Regarding the voting results on this item, stockholders owning 15,058,641,959 common shares, representing 88.93% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-16-2021. Therefore, resolution number S-16-2021 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The amendment of Section 4, Article 4 of the Corporation's bylaw to the change of the date of annual meeting of the corporation from the fourth Tuesday of November to the last Friday of June is hereby approved. The next order of business is the amendment of Section 11.1 of the Article 3 of the Corporation's bylaw to improve the second sentence, quote, "He or she shall be elected by the board and shall hold office at the pleasure of the board," unquote. May I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolutions regarding this amendment to the corporate bylaws and the voting results?
Management is proposing the approval of resolution number S-17-2021 to remove from section 11.1, article 3 of the company's bylaws, the second sentence, he or she shall be elected by the board and shall hold office at the pleasure of the board. The resolutions are shown on the screen. As to the voting results regarding this item, stockholders owning 15,944,166,659 common shares, representing 88.73% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-17-2021. Therefore, resolution number S-17-2021 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The amendment of Section 11.1 of Article 3 of the company's bylaw to remove the second sentence, quote, "He or she shall be elected by the board and shall hold office at the pleasure of the board," unquote, is hereby approved. The next item in the agenda is the ratification of all acts of the Board of Directors, board committees, officers, and management for the period of May 28, 2021 to November 23, 2021. May I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolutions regarding the matters and the voting results?
Mr. Chairman, our Board of Directors and management seek ratification of all acts and resolutions of the Board of Directors, the Executive Committee, and other board committees exercising powers delegated by the board, which were adopted from May 28, 2021 until today, November 23, 2021. These acts and resolutions are reflected in the minutes of the meetings and summarized in the explanation and rationale of agenda item portion of the definitive information statement. They include the election of members of the various board committees and the lead independent director, the appointment of officers, approval of the amended bylaws, appointment of attorneys, in fact, and authorized signatories, capital allocation and disbursement of funds to subsidiaries, treasury-related matters, declaration of cash dividends, approval of agreements needed by the company in the normal course of business, postponement of the annual stockholders meeting, and matters covered by disclosures to the SEC and the PSE. Stockholders ratification is also being sought for the acts of officers taken to implement the resolutions of the board, the executive committee, and other board committees, or perform in the general conduct of our business or pursuant to our bylaws, performed from May 28, 2021 to November 23, 2021. We are showing on screen resolution number S-18-2021. On the voting results, stockholders owning 15,977,446,659 common shares, representing 88.92% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-18-2021. Therefore, resolution number S-18-2021 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. Each and all acts and or resolutions of the period May 28, 2021 to November 23, 2021 of the Board of Directors and each board committees, officers, and management of the corporations are hereby ratified. The next order of the business is the election of 9 members of the Board of Directors of the corporation for the ensuing year. May I please ask Corporate Secretary to present the list of nominees for election to the Board of Directors of the company.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Monde Nissin Corporation recognizes the importance of diversity in the membership of its Board of Directors to avoid groupthink and to promote long-term shareholder value. Its incumbent board membership comprises of individuals of diverse age, nationality, religion, and gender, and spans a broad range of business and educational backgrounds. The company recognizes that diversity enables the board to be agile and creative when addressing challenges, and affords it wider breadth and greater depth in seeking opportunities and addressing business risk. The diversity of the company's board puts it in the best position to provide meaningful value to the company and its stockholders, consistent with the company's core aspiration to improve the well-being of people and the planet and create sustainable solutions for food security. Guided by the foregoing, and in accordance with the company's corporate governance, nomination, and remuneration rules governing nomination and election of directors, the following nominees have been nominated as members of the Board of Directors and have consented to their respective nominations. Hartono Quifanus, Catalin Darmono, Hediono Quifanus, Betty Ang, Henry Susanto, Monica Darmono, Delphine Lazaro for Independent Director, Nina Perpetua D. Aguas for Independent Director, and Marie Elaine Teo for Independent Director.
Thank you very much, Ms. Corporate Secretary. May we have the result of the elections?
Mr. Chairman, there being only 9 nominees for 9 seats. The affirmative votes in favor of those nominated have been tabulated, and each of the 9 nominees have garnered at least 15,824,240,659 affirmative votes, or at least 88.07% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company. Given this, I certify that each of the nominees has received, through votes for election to the board, has received sufficient votes for election to the board. On the screen is the proposed resolution regarding the election of the directors. Our proposed resolution S-19-2021 is shown on the screen. Given that each nominee has secured at least 88.07% votes in his or her favor, accordingly, Resolution S-19-2021 has been duly approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The next item in the agenda is the elections of the external auditor and the approval of its audit fee. May we request the chairman of the Audit Committee to present.
The Audit Committee performs oversight functions over the external auditor of the corporation by, among others, assessing its integrity and independence and the effectiveness of its audit processes. This is critical given the key role of the external auditor in providing objective assurance with respect to the corporation's financial statements. Mr. Chairman, in the performance of this oversight function, the Audit Committee has evaluated the performance of the incumbent external auditor of the corporation, Sisip Gores Villayan Company, for the past year and has been satisfied with its performance. The Audit Committee and the Board of Directors have agreed to endorse for stockholders' approval the appointment of accounting firm Sisip Gores Villayan Company as the external auditor of the corporation for the calendar year 2021 for an audit fee of pesos 13,970,000.
Thank you very much, Director Nina. Ms. Corporate Secretary, may we have the proposed resolution on this item and the voting results?
Mr. Chairman, the Board of Directors and Management are proposing the adoption of Resolution number S-20-2021 for the appointment of the company's external director and fixing its external auditor and the fixing of its remuneration. The resolution is being shown on the screen. On the voting results, I'm pleased to report that stockholders owning 15,964,429,259 common shares, representing 88.85% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of Resolution number S-20-2021. Consequently, Resolution number S-20-2021 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The appointment of Sisip Gores Villayan and Company as the external auditor of the corporation for the calendar year 2021 for an audit fee of pesos 13,970,000 has been approved. Are there any other matters that require consideration from shareholders?
There is none, Mr. Chairman. The stockholders were given the opportunity to submit proposals for agenda items for possible inclusion in today's agenda, but we did not receive any.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. At this point, we will now address questions or comment from the shareholders. As mentioned by the Corporate Secretary earlier, management will reply by email to questions or comments not taken up during this meeting, but of course, we will try to address as many as we can now. I will now turn over the floor to Mr. Michael Pasca, the head of our investor relations, who will read the question or comments together with the names of the shareholders who send them, and the relevant directors or key executive officer shall answer the same.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jesse, the first question comes from stockholder Anthony Gilbert Antequera. How are your revenues?
We are pleased to record a record high quarterly revenues at 4.1% growth in the Q3 of 2021. This is significantly higher than any of the previous quarters, pre and post-pandemic. This growth in Q3 was led by APAC BFP, which had strong domestic revenue recovery. Domestic revenue grew about 10% from Q2 to Q3. Compared to the previous year, this increased by 4.2%, led by robust growth in noodles, which grew 10%, and stabilization in biscuits, as we continue usage building programs and push towards in-home consumption. Revenue growth in the international business tapered in Q3 to 1.2% compared with a high base in Q3 2020 amidst ongoing logistical challenges, including shipping container and vessel shortages, as well as port congestion. Meat alternative grew by 3.6% in Philippine peso terms to 3.6 billion, but declined 3.8% organically, reflecting challenging UK macroeconomic conditions. While retail sales, particularly the frozen segments, remained challenging, there was significant growth in food service in Q3 revenue, up 63.8% versus year ago.
Thank you, Jesse. Jesse, our second question comes from stockholder Pierre Santos. How has commodity cost inflation affected your gross margins and profitability in the third quarter?
While gross margins declined by 1.6% compared to a year ago, this has actually improved by 400 basis points to 39.4% from Q2 to Q3. This is due to cost containment measures that we have taken, including locking in some of our commodity costs, implementing some pricing action, and also favorable sales mix.
Okay, thank you. Henry, our third question comes from stockholder Marion Co. How do you plan to make your products healthier and more sustainable?
Thank you, Mike. So we plan to do this through continuous innovation and intensive consumer research to target consumers' pain points. So our R&D is focusing on the new product and that are aligned with our aspirations. We have the technology that enable us to address this. In our APAC BFB businesses, our new healthy noodles line utilizes our proprietary high-speed airflow technology, reducing oil content by 70%. As what we have alluded to earlier, we are working on bringing this to other markets, starting with Thailand. In our meat alternative business, we consider corn as the future of food. As JC mentioned earlier, we produce our own protein that is called mycoprotein, a sustainable future food and a superior meat alternative with the right taste, texture, nutrition, and sustainability propositions. We have also collaborated with Carbon Trust to audit our carbon footprint.
Thank you, Henry. Henry, our fourth question comes from stockholder Van Ellen Dela Cruz. What are corn's growth plans in Asia?
Our immediate priorities are the UK, US, and global QSR. However, we see the growth potential in Asia and closely monitor the market dynamics. At this point, we have our products in retail outlets and e-commerce channels in the Philippines and Singapore, also in Hong Kong and Thailand. We also expect to expand our Asian business with our food service and QSR partners. Mike.
Thank you, Henry. Jesse, our fifth question comes from stockholder Van Ellen Dela Cruz. How are you addressing the macroeconomic challenges?
The macroeconomic picture has been challenging, including additional headwinds that we experience in our meat alternative business. We continue to monitor all of these and will proactively look for ways to find offsets through hedging, lock-ins, natural hedges with currency, and cost savings project. Bottom line, we will do our best to minimize the effect, both to margins and to our consumers.
Thank you. Jesse, our sixth question comes from stockholder Aaron Legaspi. What can you say about the change in the use of IPO proceeds from CapEx to debt repayment? Can you talk more about the sources of funding and any updates on your CapEx plans?
As we have mentioned in our press release, there's no change in our capital expenditure plans and growth strategies, as we continue to have strong conviction on the long-term growth opportunities of our businesses. We have paid down majority of the remaining term loans to avoid significant negative carry associated with maintaining large cash balances. Funding will instead be provided by our strong operating cash flow, supplemented with existing credit lines if needed. So far, we have booked 3.6 billion of CapEx. This is lower versus our prospective guidance of 7.9 billion. Part of it is due to the timing of the IPO. We were waiting to secure funding before we really turn on the spending. We remain on track with our capacity expansion despite having some savings. However, we think that it may be necessary in the near term to pivot some of the spending to OPEX, especially in the meat alternative business, to chase the growth that we believe exists in this very exciting category.
Thank you, Jesse. Mr. Chairman, there are no further questions.
Thank you, Mike. So that concludes the 2021 Annual Shareholders Meeting of Monde Nissin Corporation. And the meeting is hereby adjourned. So the link to the video recording of this meeting will be posted on the company's website. Shareholders may raise their issues, clarification, or concern within 2 weeks from the posting of the link by sending an email to corporate.secretary@mondenissin.com and investor.relations@mondenissin.com. So we thank you all for joining us today and for your continued support to Monde Nissin.
For the members of the board, I would like to request you to attend the organizational meeting, the link of which will be sent within the next 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.